Hello and welcome to the AVForums Movies Podcast for Monday, the 18th of September, 2023. Tonight I'm joined by Simon Crust.
I'm Batman.
And Mark Costello.
No, I'm Batman.
Oh, that's just...
Sorry.
We're off to a great start. So
Where's Tom when you need him?
Yeah.
He's not Batman.
This week, Mark takes a look at Poirot's A Haunting in Venice and Sleepy Hollow in 4K.
Yes.
Simon discusses why you need the entire Psycho collection, which was a revelation to me, in 4K, and how Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse may be not only one of the best films of the year, but one of the best 4K releases as well. Whilst I check out Past Lives and A Million Miles Away and revisit Batman Mask of the Phantasm in 4K, which will spur us on to our theme of the week, which is to look at the greatest and worst, if there are any bad ones, animated Batman movies.
Batman.
So, yeah, Batman movies. Right, let's dive into competitions, Mark. Hit us.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got three biggies. First of all. So first of all, you can win 500 Nicker to spend with MPB, the platform for selling and trading used photo and videographic equipment. We've also partnered with Peter Tyson, so you can win a pair of Bowers & Wilkins 607 S3 bookshelf speakers, together with Audio Quest Rocket 11 speaker cable, worth a total of £919. But no, even that's not enough. We've finally partnered with AV.com, so you can win a complete monitor audio and Roxanne hi-fi system worth a massive £2,468. That's from AV.com. Now, that all includes a pair of monitor audio bronze 500 floor standing speakers, a Roxanne Atessa integrated amplifier, and a visual cable pack. Wowzer. And on top of all that, exclusive offers for patrons include the modern horror classic It Follows on limited edition 4K Ultra HD, together with David Cronenberg's Crime of the Future on limited edition 4K Ultra HD, both from Second Sight, both awesome. We've got Fast X on 4K Blu-ray, The Flash on boring old regular 1080p SDR Blu-ray, plus a selection of my top 10 recommended UK Blu-rays for September, including The Ship That Died of Shame, Blazing Magnum, which is awesome, Antichrist, Marlow, and an Asteroid City bundle. So head over to avforums.com/competitions to enter. And remember, all competitions are open to eligible AV Forums members resident in the UK. Done.
Nice. Previous competition winners. Supporter David M won Shazam 2 on Blu-ray. Supporter Jay Finney won Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret on Blu-ray. Supporter Lotus Lan won 2 Anti-Worlds Blu-rays. Supporter Don Rogers Tash won 3 Musketeers D'Artagnan on Blu-ray. Supporter Naphine won Lola on Blu-ray. Supporter Lotus Alan won 2
You've already read that.
Ron
Burgundy.
Oh, yes. And Star Supporter UK won Sam Peckinpah's Cross of Iron on 4K limited edition Steelbook.
Well done, everyone. Some good prizes there.
Absolutely.
And we've got new patrons too. Mark 4, clever. Jason Cassidy, Jason LaRue, who's a star supporter, and supporter George Luzo, pardon me for the pronunciation, just upgraded to star supporter.
Excellent.
So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you all.
Right,
star supporters, get over to those early access reviews.
Yes, and enter the really fat competitions too. Basically, everyone becomes star supporter. So let's have some movie reviews and news. So it's still a bit quiet at the cinema, which is really no surprise, and is going to be the exact words I say probably at least for the rest of the year. But Mark did manage to track down the latest Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot Agatha Christie romp. I haven't seen the second one yet. I enjoyed the first one.
The second one. First one was okay.
I enjoyed the first one, but I just enjoyed it. I didn't go, oh my god, I need to see loads of these. But I have been.
You wanted to see more of his moustache, though, didn't you?
How he got the moustache? Anyway, I mean,
that's an Agatha Christie mystery right there.
Yeah, it's not. I have to say, it hasn't been like Knives Out. Oh, I'm quite interested in Knives Out too. Haunting in Venice, from the sounds of the style, that's actually got me intrigued, Mark. Although you peg it as the last on the list.
No.
Okay, just checking. Tell us about it anyway.
So speaking from someone who is talking to you right this minute from the very village from which Agatha Christie's most famous heroine drew her name, that's right, Marple. Hercule Poirot returns, or more importantly, Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot returns. What was interesting about this is, like you said, the first film was a romp. It was back to the David Suchet 70s Hollywood glamour, ultra A-list whodunit. The second one, Death on the Nile, was something slightly different. It went a little bit darker. It started off with that incredibly bizarre prologue that told you as much about Poirot's mustache as it did about how terrible the First World War was. But this one, again, he's pushed the boat out and he's taking it in another avenue. Now, I think the first thing to note here is from the trailers, from a lot of the reviews, you'd go into this thinking this is some kind of horror film. It's not. I wish it was, but it isn't. What it is it is packed full of all the iconography, all the style, all the visual and audio tropes of the genre. But just because it looks like a horror film and just because it sounds like a horror film does not a horror film make. Its plot is based on a little-known novel called Halloween Party, which I haven't read. But it is 1947. Poirot is in Venice. He is dragged from his stupor, for which we know not why or what the cause is, by Tina Fey's author, who is an old friend of his. And she drags him to a seance because she believes that the clairvoyant, the spiritualist, played by Michelle Yeoh, is the real deal. So she begs Poirot to come along to debunk her, to give her something to write about in her new novel. So it's Halloween, it's Venice. They get dragged along to this seance in this huge abandoned Gothic ex-orphanage. And lo and behold, a murder happens.
Who'd have thought it?
Poirot shuts the door and says, no one's leaving until I solve this. And so we settle in for a hugely stylistic. I mean, it's incredibly stylistic what he's done here. Literally every shot, there isn't a shot that is straight on at a member of the cast. Every opportunity to look down at a skewed angle, to look up across someone is taken. And even within that, none of the cast are ever central in frame. They're always off like this. And it's a really strange feeling because
we should all do that.
We should all do that. Just sit like that. For those listening, this is great podcasting. but as not just an aesthetic, but as a mood enhancer, it's always drawing you to look past the characters. So it's full of these little stylish ticks, and it's incredibly handsome. Branagh has done a bang-up job in giving this a gorgeous aesthetic. Unfortunately, he didn't do a bang-up job with the actual narrative or the mystery. Now, much like Death on the Nile, it spends far too long setting the characters, setting the mood, setting the mystery up, and it feels then like you gallop through the meat of it. It's not a body count film. Agatha Christie was the grandmother of the body count work. She invented the body count, as it were. And in this one, I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers about how many bodies actually crop up in it, but it gives it makes the narrative slight. There's not enough to it to really sustain interest in the story. Which is a real shame because I so wanted to like this. Honestly, from those opening shots of a gothically empty, fog-bound Venice, and there is a jump scare after like 30 seconds, which blimey Charlie wasn't expecting. And I thought, I'm in for this. I am ready. Come on, Sir Ken, make me pap myself. And unfortunately, he didn't. it's still well worth seeing for people who like whodunits. The cast is good. And yes, I even include Jamie Dornan in that, who I've managed to just about forgive for Heart of Stone. It's worth seeing if you enjoy these kind of movies, but it is a shame that the narrative, it feels like an afterthought in what should have been, the backbone, the spine of the whole film. And now I on my letterbox, I gave Murder an 8 out of 10. I gave Death a 6 out of 10, and I give this a 6 out of 10. I think it is as good as Death on the Nile. It suffers from a lot of the same issues of Death on the Nile. That again took some strange anachronistic left turns in its style and spent too long setting up the characters and galloped through the meat of its mystery. And it's the same here. Different setting, different style, different mood, different atmosphere, but similar kind of problems. I still enjoyed it. I'm glad I went to see it. It's probably a streaming view for most people, and I'm sure it'll be on Disney Plus by the end of the year. So don't be put off by my score. It's still solid stuff, but it is very much more of the same from Death on the Nile. So
good to know.
Can the butler do it?
that would be telling, Simon.
The butler always did it.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna Disney Plus the second movie, and then by the time I get around to that, I'll probably the third one, as you say, will be on there.
Yes.
But I have had the chance to see a film that I did. I mean, it's doing the rounds, and it's almost certainly going to be up for awards, which is Celine Song's writer directorial debut, Past Lives. It kind of went over my radar and has had just almost unanimous praise, which it's almost completely deserving of. I mean, it's a tremendous little film. It's mostly in Korean. It does claim to be English and Korean, but it is mostly in Korean. But it's a superb little movie about childhood love and what that really means in the real world when everyone's grown up. And somehow the narrative, without any kind of Hollywood style schmaltz. I'm looking at
every film ever made in Hollywood.
I'm looking at The Notebook, something like that, or Sliding Doors. Just the angle they could have taken with this material, if it was handled differently, is just very fanciful and dreamy. And this is no less intimate, but it's very honest and painfully touching, because you can relate to it if you think back. I mean, anyone who's had any kind of childhood sweetheart, and anyone who's ever thought back that what if, this really taps into the what if sense, and not in a Hollywood way, the Hollywood sort of dream. It's it's painfully, brutally honest and brilliantly acted. It's Greta Lee, who is currently in The Morning Show and is the proper MVP of The Morning Show. Well, that and Jennifer Aniston's Botox, they're fighting each other. But I know who's winning. But anyway, it's well worth checking out, and I'm almost
fantastic.
Get some awards, and brilliant for a directorial debut. Really nice work.
I'm really desperate to see it. In fact, for those that have read my top 10, I got this one confused with Return to Seoul. So I thought, Kaz, I've already seen that. I've already reviewed. No, I haven't. What am I talking about?
It has made me want to watch that though, because I wanted to. I know it's related but unrelated, but it has made me want to watch it. It's a tangential story about returning to Seoul, isn't it?
It is. But no, this one just sounds. I mean, as a confirmed lifelong fan of Sliding Doors, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
I like Sliding Doors as well, but
I'm interested. I'm interested to catch this.
Yeah,
excellent review, Mr. Harlow.
Nice. Right, next 4K discs.
Yes, let's have them.
If you enjoy the podcast on YouTube, then please like and subscribe. If you're listening to the audio version, then please leave us a rating on your podcast app. We invite you to email questions and feedback to podcast@avforums.com and join in with this episode's discussion thread in the podcasts forum at AVForums.
Right, so Mark's seen Sleepy Hollow in 4K, and like a lot of comments on the thread of your review, Mark, I don't think I've seen this for a long time. Like DVD.
Game on you.
Long time.
Yeah, I know, but I read
Shame
your
on
review and I see the score and I'm like, oh my God. And I see Christopher Walken and I think, oh my God. But
So you looked at the pictures and you looked at the numbers. Thanks, Kaz.
I did. In fact, I
Makes me wonder why
looked at the numbers first to decide whether I needed to see them.
It's all about the numbers. Right. So then in which case, the film remains the gloriously almost high camp ode to all things horror, Hammer and Roger Corman's glorious Gothic Poe, Vincent Price adaptations of the 60s. It's wonderful. Yes, Depp is practicing for Jack Sparrow, but it's great cast of British thesps. The glorious cinematography, and yes, Chris Walken and his razor sharp teeth it's just a blast of brilliant Halloween fun. It's slightly darker than you remember. I came to it thinking, well, it's just a little step up above, Edward Scissorhands in terms of family friendly. Yes, not really, but it's a huge blast of fun. However, the problem with it has been, and probably one of the reasons why you haven't seen it for so long, is it's been very poorly served on disc, especially in this country. Well, to be fair, in this country and the States. So what we've got here for this new 4K is we've got a brand new 4K restoration of the 35mm negative. Now, I don't know if you can remember what the previous Blu-ray looked like. It was very early doors. It was 2006. It was MPEG-2. It was the days when they didn't really know what to do with anything that didn't look like natural light. So the highly stylized, the bleached cinematography, the grain, it just looked like a very poor, very digital, very processed picture. This has now gone back to its roots and has done away with all of that. And it's a glorious picture that's just held back from perfection on a couple of things. The grayscale is now, I say the grayscale, the contrast ratio, because it's virtually black and white for most of it, apart from the splashes of color. The contrast ratio now on this initially seems to have been flattened a little bit, because on the old version, there were really brights and really darks. But of course, the whites were blown out and the blacks were crushed. Here, you've got none of that. It's a glorious even spread of colors throughout it. The color palette with the HDR grade and the wide color gamut hasn't really changed that much. It's slightly warmed up overall. So instead of those searing digital bright light colors, you've now got something slightly more authentic, slightly more natural, but it still doesn't lose that stylized look. There's a couple of instances where the grain completely disappears. There's a dream sequence with a very red door against a cream background, and it just looks, it looks like someone's just spilled grease all over the image. Now, of course, the first thing you think about that is, well, someone's got a little bit fruity with the DNR. However, what's interesting, if you check the encode at that point, you look at the bit rates. This had a bit rate that was hovering around the high 60s, low 70s. And at this bit, it drops to single figures on the encode in terms of bits. So you kind of wonder, was it hit with the DNR stick, or is it just a bit of a lousy encode that's just not pulling that detail through? Now, those things, literally, there's 3 or 4 instances of that, and they're a split second each. So by no means does that ruin the enjoyment. By no means is this a Paramount, Fatal Attraction or Planes, Trains and Automobiles kind of problem. Not one bit. It's still a glorious image through and through, but you've just got to be aware that there's a couple of instances where it just looks a little bit different. Now, when it comes to audio, I was a little bit lazy in my audio review, and before I'd even actually listened to the track, I'd already written, it's the same 5.1 DTS HD mix from the previous disc. It isn't. It is a DTS HD MA 5.1 mix, as per the last disc, but this is a new And I don't know whether or not I call it a new sound mix or a new soundtrack or what have you, but it is not the same audio track that was on the previous disc here, which is very strange. This one, it sounds like it's been opened up. It sounds like it's been turbocharged. I listened, I did spot comparisons to the third act horse and carriage chase through the forest. And the hooves are now everywhere in the room, as opposed to feeling slightly hemmed in to the front, to the center speaker on the last one. It goes much deeper. It goes much louder. So for those thinking, oh well, it's just another 5.1. It's a different 5.1, and it is a better 5.1. Would you have liked an Atmos track? Well, of course we'd liked an Atmos track, but actually what we've got here is really good. So that's another upgrade over the previous discs. However, there's always something, and in this case, it's the extras. And frankly, I'm really disappointed in Paramount for a film of this status, this beloved, with 20 odd years, since it's come out. We must be getting near some anniversary, something, to literally stick on 2 crappy EPK featurettes from the time and nothing else. And as if to rub our noses in it, Paramount, they wrote on the back of the box, you get a Tim Burton commentary. Well, you don't. So they're even lying to us as to what we get on the disc, the swines. So
this is Paramount, though, isn't it?
This is Paramount.
You did say Paramount.
I did say Paramount.
You didn't say like Arrow.
No.
No, I
said
Eureka.
Paramount.
Okay. Or Second Sight. It wasn't Second Sight?
No.
Okay. So what were you expecting?
Well, not fibs, for starters, So ultimately, this disc, I mean, the other thing to say is I got it on the sexy new kind of steelbook, which is half steelbook, half media book for Bello. I don't know. And it looks brilliant until you realize it's a hugely heavy steelbook with an actual printed copy of the Washington Irving short story inside. But it doesn't, there's no clasp. So it doesn't click shut. It's just open. It's just, it's a little bit crazy. But all things considered, I'm really pleased with this release. Yes, I can moan about the extras, but frankly, I can go to YouTube and find out everything I want to know about the film off that and Wiki and IMDb. I'm not going to let that put me off a fantastic film now with a fantastic audio and visual transfer. So I think for fans of the film, even if you've got the old disc, this is a revelation. Go pick it up. It's brilliant.
Very nice. Very nice.
I don't remember the last time I saw that film.
No, I know. It's been a minute.
Put it on your Halloween watch list this year.
Damn it, Mark. It's expensive even talking to you. Which brings us to another set that was completely not on my radar. I mean, honestly, Si.
God damn it, Si.
Psycho is amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Psycho 2, 3, and 4, I've never seen or ever really. I mean, as you write in your review, they were made a lot later. I just completely dismissed that. I read the review. I'm like, I need this set. I don't need the set. I've got the first movie.
You do need the set.
No, you do need the set. It's weird.
Don't.
At our last podcast, Tom said, "Oh, they're all pretty good, aren't they?" And we all sort of went, Actually, he was pretty spot on. I mean, I've always had a soft spot for the second one. Third one's not quite so good, but the fourth one for a TV film, very. Yeah. So this is the set from Arrow that I received a month ago. I can't remember now. 3 weeks maybe. It's been reviewed and is on the early access for our star patrons. It's been up there for about 2 weeks now. So we were given 2, 3, and 4 discs. The first disc we weren't sent. And we're assuming that's because it's exactly the same as the Universal disc. It appears to be, but we don't know that because we haven't got it. So for those who want to know about that, most people probably have that one anyway. Psycho, you just say the word, everyone knows the film. Everyone knows who Norman Bates is. The portrayal of Norman Bates by Tony Perkins is out of this world. It coloured his career for the rest of his life, and he didn't want to be associated with that character, which is why it took something like 22, 23 years for the first sequel to come to fruition, or because although there were moves to make it, they kind of knew that they had to have Perkins, and he didn't want to get involved. It was only when things were happening behind the scenes and think, right, we're going to do this, and he kind of thought, well, maybe I should get involved again. It's been 22 years. Perhaps I should go and get involved. And then it was full steam ahead. He was involved and it was off. And of course, it had to be a very different film, didn't it? Because after 22 years, everyone knows Psycho, everyone knows the twist, everyone knows the character. So it had to be a very, very different film. And the way they managed to do that was because he's been released, and the questions posed by the film were, how would he react to being released back into society, and how would the people that he hurt react to him being released in society? Of course, it doesn't go quite so deep into that because this is a horror film, so we're played on the fact that these people want to get him back into the asylum, so they. I don't know, can I say too much? They play with his emotions to try and get him to break, to turn him back into the titular Psycho. And they do very well of it. There's some fantastic chemistry between the two leads. Mary, I think her name is, and it works very, very well, despite there's some on behind the scenes tension between the two actors. The actual chemistry that they have, and it works really well. And Anthony Perkins is superb in the role. He is brilliant. You feel like they're treating him so badly because of what he is and what he became. So you kind of feel for the character, and then you get that end scene and everything you thought, oh, he's they're not being fair to him. And then all of a sudden you think, oh, yes, they were. He needs to go back. He needs to go back right now because it's brilliant. And it ends on a bang, and it's fantastic, absolutely brilliant. It's not all about the ending, of course, much like Psycho isn't all about the ending. So a great film. The sound and transfer, the picture on that one is very, very good. They've gone back. Arrow have gone back to the original negative, scanned it in 4K. It's a native 4K release in the aspect ratio 1.35 to 1. And it looks spectacular. Grain is there. The colors are brilliant. It's natural looking. It's bright. It's dark when it needs to be. Black level's good. You can't really fault it. It's fantastic. Sound is what have they got on there? 5.1 and 2.0. That's right. I've got to think about this because it was weeks ago. And it's very good. Of the two, that's there wasn't too much between these actually. I quite like both of them, and depends on how you want to view the film. 5.1 works well equally, as does the original soundtrack. That works as well. So there's not really much. It's whether or not you can live with the film wasn't shown with surround sound, but you have the option to watch it with surround sound. Yeah, so which is great. Yeah. So let's go to the second sequel, Psycho 3. Now, this was made 3 years afterwards, but it takes place about a month after the events. Okay, so Norman is now under the thrall of his deceased mother again, and he's back to his old ways. This film was directed by Perkins himself, and he's stylistically, it's pretty good. He's got some quite clever scene changes, and it's quite clever framing and blocking. Everything looks quite good. But because we're now the mid-'80s and we're at the height of the slasher genre, it needed to do something to try and stand out. It couldn't live on the Psycho name alone, unfortunately, which is a shame because it really ought to have done. So they upped the boobs, they upped the blood, and it became far more exploitative, is that a word, than the second one, and indeed the third one, and far over the top compared to the first one. A lot of it works, a lot of it doesn't. It kind of almost cheapens the character and the way the film is presented. It's not a disaster. I think I give it a 6, something like that. There's a lot. It's got a lot going for it, but as part of how It fits into the hierarchy of the Psycho films. I think it's probably the lowest point. They try to explain a whole load of nonsense about his upbringing again, which didn't add anything to the character. In fact, it probably made it a little bit worse because they're trying to confuse the whole issue. It was very simple in the first film. They tried to muddy it a bit in the second film to give motivation to the characters that were trying to put him back into the asylum. And then this third one, they thought, well, maybe we've made a mistake. Let's try and reverse it and put it back again. And that just made it all, oh dear, oh dear. So anyway, moving away from the story, let's go to the AV quality. So again, brand new scan from the original camera negative. This is deep and rich. Boy, oh boy, is this some vivid colouring. Really, really vivid colouring. It's almost a smack in the face. It's really quite good. Because the stylistic choice that he uses is a bit Argento in his lighting. There's loads of red, there's loads of blue, there's loads of purples, and they phase the screen in light. And it really comes through, and the transfer is fabulous, and the black level is great. So you've got a superb transfer there. Very, very happy with that. The grain is all intact. There's no nicks of the scan itself is beautiful. Yeah, very, very happy with that. Soundtracks 2.0 and a 5.1. Now, I didn't really get on with the 5.1 with this one. I thought it was a bit too heavy. Very, very loud track. Didn't really get on with it so much. Whereas the 2.0 track, I found much better balance. It was a much cleaner track to me. Those who like something really loud and bombastic may get more out of the 5.1. I just found that a bit too loud, a bit too garish, a bit too almost artificial. You know how some of those old tracks used to pump all the sound up to make it really bassy and heavy and good to listen to. It was a bit too much for my ears. I much preferred the 2.0 track on that one. So where are we now? We're on to Psycho 4. Now, Psycho 4 was made again 2-3 years later. Anthony Perkins was again involved, but this was a made-for-TV movie, which is a little bit odd because all the others were theatrical releases. So what does that mean in terms of the story? Well, essentially, what it come from the original screenwriter. He ignored the events of the first two sequels, 2 and 3, and just said this is a direct sequel to the first film. And on looking at it on that level, it kind of works as a film. I quite liked it. It tells two stories. Anthony Perkins is talking to a radio station, telling the events of his childhood, which is we've heard about through the other films, and now we are shown exactly what happened. Not exactly what happened within reason, because we are a TV film, and I really like that. It was quite good. It's a bit Bates Motel, but done much shorter. Yeah, time constraints. It's only like a 90-minute film, so it's cracking a hell of a lot in to the short runtime there. And the second part of the film is Anthony, what's his name, Norman. Is that a bit spoilery? He wants to kill again, okay, and that's why he rang the station, and they're trying to talk him out of killing whom he wants to kill, and he wants to do it, and so he takes the person he wants to kill back to his family home. And again, there's some terrific elements there. He is coming to terms with himself, the person he wants to kill, and his past, and all in one short space of time. Had it been a theatrical release, had they given it a little bit more time, I think that would have been the pinnacle of the Psycho franchise, because it was brilliantly done. In the end, it was a little bit rushed, or it felt a little bit rushed at least, and they just threw a firebomb and blew everything up, and that's kind of like a Thunderbirds ending.
If there really was a Thunderbirds ending,
there really was a Thunderbirds ending. So what have we got here? Okay, so now the limited release of this set, which we were privy to, was there are two versions of Psycho 4. There's the theatrical aspect ratio 1.78, and there's the TV ratio 1.33. Now, It was released theatrically, but not in America. Presumably we saw it in this country. We were certainly released in Europe in the 1.78:1, and that's what the director prefers. Now, to get to 1.78:1, they've cropped the 1.33. So instead of it being this wide, we go in a bit. So it's so you fill the screen by taking the top and bottom off. So that makes it slightly more intimate. Doesn't reduce the picture quality or the detail or anything like that. They're almost identical when you see them, particularly when you see them back to back. The 4.3 may have slightly more detail, maybe a hair's more detail, because it doesn't have that cropping aspect. So you don't have the kind of zoom aspect. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Good.
Yeah, we're with you.
Yeah, good.
I mean, it did the same for Mask of the Phantasm.
Wasn't that open matte though?
It's 1.33. They envisage it originally. Well,
yes,
we'll come into
we'll come to
that, but they cropped it to 1.7.
They cropped it to make So you lose a little bit top and bottom. So it makes it slightly more intimate framing on the theatrical version because you're really up close. It's filmed very close anyway because you're trying to get the emotion out of the characters' faces as they're talking on the phone. Yeah. So in the 4.3, you've got a little bit more top and bottom, so they're looking like this. But when you zoom right in, you're right up close to them, and that can help. So it's difficult to say which is better, the 1.3 or the 1.78, because they've both got their pluses and minuses. You know,
at least you've got the choice.
You've got the choice. That's it. But the picture again. Stunning, absolutely brilliant. You know, it's like it was made yesterday. If anything, it had a little bit more damage on the TV version, I guess, because that's been shown that much more. So the negative was probably slightly more damage than the 1.78. Speculation on my part. But colours were great. Again, bathing the screen in blues and reds and greens. It looks absolutely awesome. Very, very, very good picture. Yeah, you couldn't fault any of the pictures on any of these on this set. Absolutely outstanding. Soundtrack is only a 2.0, and it's great. Absolutely brilliant. Superb stereo effects on that on 4. Same track on both discs. Absolutely brilliant. And then you come to the extras package. Now the extras package is immense, all on the 4K discs, of course. Far, far, far too many to list. Go and look into the review, and you can see. But each one has got a whole raft of extras. Most of them are legacy, but there's new stuff on there. There's new commentaries, new interviews, new features. I mean, my God, this set is absolutely outstanding. Who would have thought such a set would be worth the money? I don't know what to say. Brilliant. Absolutely worth it.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Excellent work, Mr. Crust.
God, between Bruce Lee and Psycho, it's just an expensive.
Arrow is smashing it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and also making people broke.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Yes, basically. Okay. Can you also tell us about what I presume is one of your favorite releases of the year?
The Spidey. Yeah, I love a bit of Spider-Man. I do like Spider-Man. I hadn't rewatched the first film. Can't even remember what it was called now. Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
I watched it a couple of times on disc when I first got it. What was it? 4 years ago? But I hadn't revisited it. And when you did your cinema review, I was kind of in two minds whether or not I wanted to see the second film, simply because it's a part 1 of, part 2. So it's the second part of a trilogy, but it's
part 1 of 2.
Part 1 of 2.
Yeah.
So I'm denied about it, even though you were very, very excited about it in your review on site and on our podcast. But I was a little bit in two minds, and then the disc came along and I thought, right, well, let's give this a go. Boy, oh boy. What a film. What a film. It's tremendous. Absolutely brilliant. Much like the first film, much like something like Arcane, the melding of picture and sound is out of this world. The stylistic artistry they use to convey emotion through the characters is brilliant. Then you add on that soundtrack, and it's out of this world. When picture and sound come together, it makes something truly special. I always point there's two scenes that I particularly like. In Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, lighting of the signal fires, right? When they're firing and Howard's score comes in, that picture and sound there, immense, absolutely immense. The other one is Peacemaker, when the bugs are released into the police station. Right, that again, another picture and sounds. You're my favorite monster. Oh my god, works perfectly. Imagine that. Now those scenes are what, a couple of minutes each. Imagine that brilliance, but for 2 hours, because that's what you get with Across the Spider-Verse. It pulls you in. And it holds you there just when you think it's got too much, because the visuals are all over the place, the music pumping. It quietens down a bit, and it just, look at this character. Look what's happening here. Look at the distress they're in. Look how they're bonding on this tragedy. And then it'll ramp up again, and you're going, oh yes. And you're sitting on your seat and you're watching, and you're fully involved in it. It's absolutely, it's a superb film. Of course, the only negative about it all is that it just stops. Literally almost mid-sentence. There's no conclusion, there's no wrapping up of anything, which is very, very frustrating. And I know people have mentioned Star Wars 2 Empire Strikes Back, but that kind of has conclusions to it. Whilst it doesn't end as such, and it's open-ended, there is a climax to it, and it pulls you together. Yeah. I've just watched Dark Knight Returns Part 1. That doesn't have an ending as such, but it has a conclusion, and then it sets itself up for the second one.
Dead Reckoning did well as well.
Yeah. This Spider-Verse one doesn't do that. It does
a fast X.
Yeah. Just there you go. Here's my team. Let's go. To be continued.
And I wonder what that sound effect sounds like in Atmos.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, the picture on this disc is incredible. You can't fault it. 10 out of 10 in every direction. There's no way to.
Hang on a minute, Si. Surely that's not possible, because isn't this
it's an upscale?
No,
you wouldn't believe it.
No. Upscale pictures. Remember, listen to the internet, Simon. Upscale pictures just look like poo.
Yeah, John says no.
No, that's anyone who feels that needs to see this film, because it is immense. You can't fault the picture. It's absolutely brilliant. Stylistically, everything is all over the place, but the color there just beams off the screen. The black level is immense. The white is immense. The highlights are fantastic. You just can't fault it. And then you've got the Atmos soundtrack, which is right up here and as far below, almost to the center of the earth. The bass is fantastic, and it comes at you in all directions all the time. The score is awesome. The effects are brilliant. I love it.
Do you think Simon enjoyed the disc, Kaz? I'm
not
quite
mate.
sure.
Oh man, he's not quite sure. Disc of the year.
I'll tell you,
sitting on the fence there, Si.
I've been very, very fortunate with my reviews over the past couple of weeks. The Wicker Man, the Psycho set, and now this. Wow. No, I'll tell you what.
Good work.
They're all very high scoring discs, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
Well, I've not seen the film yet, and I have to admit, for my shame, I picked up a fairly cheap digital copy, and I have, since I read Si's review, I've thought I've got to watch this on disc. I've got to get the I'm trying to not watch it and wait for the disc to come in and off.
Yeah, do that. You can wait.
Yeah.
Wait and get the disc.
It's worth it.
Crap to watch.
Yeah. It really is worth. And on your setup, mate, I'll tell you what. Projector, big, mate. Oh, you'll be.
And you know from the first movie what to expect.
Yeah, the first one looked pretty sweet. Excellent.
Well, continuing the run of animated stars, I took a look at Batman: Mask of the Phantasm on 4K. I am not sure any of us were really expecting this to hit 4K. I mean, DC, I don't know how many letters to put in. Is it DC EU A? I don't know.
AU? No, I don't know.
Extended animated. It's lots of letters. Anyway, the DC animated universe is big. It's got loads of 50 titles, whatever. And it's been running for a minute. I mean, this is 93, so it's been running for a good long while now. So much so that they've started remaking their own animated movies as new animated movies, Superman Doomsday. But I think it's fair to say that it's been a lot more consistent than their live action movies. But they haven't really given it much 4K love. I know in the US, most of their more recent releases get 4K discs, but it's not like they've gone back and they've served up all of the originals, the earlier ones on 4K. And in the UK, we don't get any of that. We get them on Blu-ray.
Oh, we got a box set. I thought they released a box set of a selection of
they might have
random ones.
Yeah, random set of like
That's
how many, 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's all we've got on 4K.
Doesn't help you. Yes, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't help you because it doesn't offer you really any way of collecting them. But they've gone back here and gone right back to the beginning, and they've popped out Mask of the Phantasm on 4K. Itself a last minute decision of a movie, because it was made. I mean, I'd like to think everyone who loves Batman has at some point discovered Bruce Timm's Batman animated series, because it is
seminal. Yeah,
it is seminal. I mean, I remember it as a kid, and I remember thinking, wow, this is pretty good for an animation. This is pretty good right here. And they did a season of that, and then they did this movie. It was planned to be kind of like a TV movie. It's all of the same animators. It's all of the same voice cast. It was going to be an extended TV movie between season 1 and season 2 of the animated series. And then I guess because of the popularity of Batman in the intervening years, they went, whoa, let's make this theatrical. They didn't give any time to make it theatrical. They demanded it be theatrical aspect ratio, which we'll come on to in the presentation, and they served it up a little bit rushed in that regard. But I actually think it stands up as one of the best Batman movies.
Absolutely.
It's a tremendous watch, and I got to revisit it this time around with the kids. And what was lovely about it was I was showing them a Batman animated movie with a completely non-linear narrative. The kids are like, "Oh, what's happening here?" And I'm having to explain to them, this is a flashback, and this is this, and this is it's fabulously mature viewing out of a animated Batman movie. And they do the story so well. They fuse in so much into such a short running time. It's lean and efficient. It tells bits and pieces from both the graphic novels of Year 1 and Year 2 and Batman's history. Year 1 being how he became Batman. They tell that in flashback, but from a different angle. They tell it from the angle of him also falling in love. And they tell Year 2, or a version of Year 2. Year 2 is where he comes across something like another vengeful vigilante, only one who kills. And they adapt the Grim Reaper from Year 2 into someone who ties back into his history here, and starts going around killing all the crime bosses in Gotham. It's really, really nicely done. It's a fabulously taught narrative. Voice cast are tremendous. I mean, one of my favorite Batmans is Kevin Conroy, the late Kevin Conroy. I know we all always pick through the live action versions, but he was just so great in it, and he rarely got the chance to get this emotional while still being in character, which was nice. It's got Mark Hamill as one of the greatest Jokers. It's a great cast, a really nicely put together movie, which we'll come on to when we look at all of the movies in the Batman animated series. My God. It's been given, I mean, Warner, who apparently don't often give this detailed press releases, they say it's sourced from a 1993 original cut camera negative and scanned at 4K resolution. Digital restoration was applied to the 4K scans to remove dirt, scratches, and additional anomalies, but special care was given not to touch the film grain or the animation cell dirt, which was an interesting thing. So they've done an insane restoration on it that removes dirt but not cell dirt. So you have a very textured image. I mean,
that's the best dirt. That's the dirt you really want to see.
It's crazy. Well, they're saying part of the original artwork. I mean, it's above and beyond this level of cleanup process. But what you have in viewing is a beautifully restored animated movie from 25 30 years ago. It looks
30 years ago.
I know, it's crazy. It looks tremendous. It's all those classic kind of gothic stylings, but it's been sumptuously brought back to like 2023 life. I've got the digital copy as well. I watched it on Apple. It's 4K. It's Dolby Vision. It looks very nice. And if you didn't have the disc, I think most people would go, "This looks pretty nice for a Batman cartoon." But my God, the disc blows it away. It's refined. It's detailed. It's just leagues above it. It's an amazing presentation. They do really well, and I don't have any beef with the theatrical aspect ratio. As far as I can tell, what happened was during the early production days, so you need 2 hours to turn around the entire animated movie, and a year into that, they got told they wanted it theatrical rather than just 1.33 like the show. And so the people who were animating it still had a year, which isn't ideal because normally you have the 2, but they still had the time to go back to their original plans for the shots and plan them in such a way that basically you coped for both. And if you look at comparison stills, you can see there is a lot of dead space. I like the full widescreen ratio they have here. It gives it a very cinematic feel, and it's a very cinematic movie, so I don't have any problems with what they've done there. Nice. But to Simon's point, I would say I do understand that it would have been preferable to have the choice. So I can see why some people were a bit miffed, because I think they had the choice in the last Blu-ray release. The 2.0 and 5.1 tracks, the 5.1 is remixed. I mean, there's something great about the way that opens up the stage. It's a very, very immersive mix. I found out that Zimmer was on hand on the synth for this one, and which was a nice little nod there. But it's a lovely score, apart from Tia Carrera on the closing track, which is up there with some of the worst choices to like
Tia
sing
Carrera?
out. I know, it's like you watch the movie and you feel like they've brought this thing into 2023, and then she starts singing at the end, and you're like way back in 93 again.
I was going to say, is that like a Wayne's World outtake or something?
It was a
Jesus.
terrible way to close the movie. Anyway, sounds fantastic. There's a nice selection of extra features insofar as they've done a retrospective on Conroy. I mean,
nice.
They should have done more, sure, but yeah, it's a nice touch, and it's the right time. And I did like the steelbook set. I do like the new artwork. But yeah, that one comes recommended, and it was really nice revisiting it.
It's a shame that the standard version has been put back a month.
I know.
We were hoping to get it today.
To encourage people to get the steelbook.
Well, yeah, true.
Just saying. I've got a bunch of a bunch of actual in-hand copies of movies here.
Oh,
Like, I know, and I've got to do it. I've got to do this thing where we show them on screen. It's going to spoil it for all of the people just listening. But I've got to do it because some of them are gorgeous, and I just need to make you guys jealous. So I've got in hand the Wicker Man set.
Oh, look at the girth on that. It's
mean,
all about the girth.
Yeah,
that is.
that's it. You don't even need to see what's inside.
No, it's empty.
Yes.
It's like Mulholland Drive. It's just an empty box.
I mean, this one's.
Look at that
pop. Oh, I'm all about the pop-up.
I mean, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, and Tom would be wetting himself over all that paper.
Yes. It's got some. We're discovering what's inside.
For those that don't have the luxury of visuals, Kaz is struggling with a poster.
Yeah, I'm struggling with a poster.
Particularly tricky.
Cards, art cards.
Nice.
Yes.
I mean,
Kaz has the look on his face that makes you realise he doesn't get to open disc boxes.
I do not. I never get them because I just get the PR discs, and I've got all of these gorgeous sets here. But actually, it's got a lovely little book in there, printed book, and then at the very, very bottom, you've got the fold out.
There we go.
Man
yeah, look at that.
Yes. That.
Oh, come on.
I was going to say I can't wait for Amazon to deliver mine on Monday, but let's be honest, we all know that ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon have been having a
come on, Bezos, sort
recently.
Your crap out.
I don't know what that is about. Yeah, you're going to have to walk in somewhere, and if that's not enough, for those who don't have this set, I was also able to get a hold of the Steelbook, and I have to say
that is a gorgeous.
That is gorgeous.
It's a really nice.
I mean, I have to say, let's be honest, spoilers, but you know,
I mean, okay,
Jesus.
yeah, fair enough. It is. Oh yeah, don't look too.
Yeah, if you've not seen the film,
that burning Wicker Man.
Don't look at it.
Who's in there? It's Nicolas Cage.
Who is that in there?
Yes, Nicolas Cage, not the bees. But yeah, that's a. I mean, it's much more simple. That's got all. Four discs.
Oh, so it loses
it's missing the CD.
CD. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm glad I've stuck with the pop-up version now.
No CD. Yeah, there's no CD.
I think that's just a limited edition.
Hidden in there, unfortunately. But I have to say, for those who haven't bought the limited edition, the Steelbook artwork is really nice.
It's really good.
It's a really nice set. I'm also going to give a quick shout out to the Wave 2 of the Film Vault collection. I mean, we did Wave 1 back in the day. They didn't send me Jaws or 2001 from Wave 2, which is a bit annoying.
So basically, the two really good ones then.
Yeah, the artwork on those is stunning.
They're amazing.
But, I mean, this is the Shawshank one, and I've opened up the Apollo 13, and we actually reviewed this on the site. I mean, you'll see all of that. They apparently have upgraded these sets, but if you have Wave 1, then you'll find they're basically exactly the same kind of style. So
and let's be clear here, it's the same discs, isn't it? This is just
it is the same
extra off-disc tat.
Let's not talk about I mean, if you want to talk about extra tat, you get I mean, it's hard to show. Oh yeah, there it is.
Wow, it's a piece of clear perspex with some writing in it.
I mean,
wow.
We're gonna say this is in all of the Film Vault collection things, and the difficulty with it is that it's really quite heavy in what is otherwise quite a light set, and if you're not super careful, the whole thing can come out with this massive thud of glass. The actual discs come in a tiny CD size sort of fold out, which I mean, I'm not
keen on that.
I'm not going to compare to the Wicker Man, but like I guess it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's a completely different style. If you started collecting these massively oversized Film Vault collections, I mean, the artwork is very nice. It's got
the
little
artwork
box
is beautiful.
It's got all the art cards. The art cards have quotes on them. It's got photos from the film. I mean, it's a nice looking set, and I do like the box art, and I do like these oversized boxes that are all kind of consistent vault number 5, vault number 6, stick them alongside each other on your shelf. I quite like the idea of that, and it's certainly going to get people in. Their film choices and their regularity with releases, not sure about. And certainly with Apollo, I mean, it's hard because, Apollo, Goodfellas, you're wondering whether it would have been nice to have slightly newer discs for these. But anyway, there's our unboxing for those who are listening at home. It was a thing. Mark, tell us what's coming up.
Right, I haven't given me a lot of time for this. So we're going to start this side of the Atlantic this month. Arrow have unexpectedly done what we kind of expected them to do at some point, but they've announced it for the 13th of November, is they're deciding to release their amazing Bruce Lee films as individual sets. So we've got 4 coming in total: Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, and a combo of Game of Death 1 and 2. A lot of people thought that the standout special feature from the box set, the final Game of Death, which is exceptional, would be exclusive to the box set, but it isn't. It is actually coming as part of the Way of the Dragon.
Doesn't make any sense, Mark. That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
you got the wrong movie.
I think what they're saying is that the Way of the Dragon now basically encompasses Lee's directorial oeuvre, if you like, because he directed Way of the Dragon and he was directing Game of Death.
No,
that's the thought process.
No,
but anyway,
that's a bad thought process, Mark. Put it on the Game of Death.
It's not me. It's not me, Kaz.
Can you tell them?
I'm not in charge of this. Right. So that's 13th of November for all those. Studio Canal have announced Jim Jarmusch's cult favorite Ghost Dog Way the Samurai. That's coming October 23rd. Looking forward to that. Warner Brothers have announced the Ace David Bowie doc Moonage Daydream for a 4K release on December the 11th, on the same day as childhood classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not at all unsuspiciously timed with the cinema release of Paul King's new Wonka film there at all. Not at all. We're coming up to Halloween. We can't get away with it with a good old Halloween release. And Paramount have finally confirmed Scream 3 is coming on October the 2nd. However, come on, it's not the entire franchise. Where is Scream 4? They're probably saving that for next year, the Swines. But we'll let them off because they're also bringing us Rosemary's Baby on October the 9th. And that little independent film that no one's ever heard of and no one really saw. Dead Reckoning Put 1. I don't know what that is. Yes, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is coming on the 6th of November from Paramount as well. So sticking with Paramount, but crossing over the Atlantic, Paramount US have announced Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2. It's coming on December the 5th. So I expect a similar announcement over here. Disney have announced Haunted Mansion on October 17th, but no one really cares, especially because everyone's going to be buying Lionsgate. US announced Horror Smash Talk to Me on the same day. I've got to mention Kino, who are prepping another Clint special, The Eiger Sanction, for sometime in early 24.
Oh, nice.
But that's not the real reason I wanted to mention Kino, because what I really wanted to mention them for is in exceptional 1080p news, they're also bringing us the amazing early 90s noir Tarantino riff, 2 Days in the Valley, which is famous, as we all know, for one of the most amazing cat fights between Terry Hatcher and Charlize Theron, who's basically a bit naked. So, that's Ace for everyone. That's coming on November the 14th. Finally, Shout Factory are coming up strong. Actually, this month, they've announced Fargo coming on November the 7th. And perhaps most and more importantly, we're ending on a high here. The original action classic Point Break is coming on January 24th. So awesome stuff there. However, as is my want in recent poddies, I'm going to end on a rant, and I'm going back to
Paramount.
It's another big major Hollywood studio, and it is Paramount. Now, for those of you that are keeping up with releases over in the States, an interesting box set dropped called Paramount Scares Volume 1. And you think that's great until you look at the 5 films that are included in it. So there's 4 films, which are just a complete random selection of previously released 4Ks. Rosemary's Baby, Cat's Eye, Crawl, and Smile. I mean, what the hell have they all got to do with each other? But even more hilariously, the 5th title is a mystery title. They're not announcing it. Oh my God, what the actual F, Paramount? What are you trying to do here? Now, as ever, the rumor mill is going overtime, and a lot of people think that it's the Johnny Depp Sweeney Todd film, which, let's be honest, could you imagine buying that set hoping you get a decent fifth film and you wind up with Sweeney Todd on 4K? Holy crap. So basically, Paramount, have a word. Just what are you thinking with this mystery film crap? Stop it. Stop it. Sort your DNR application out, not this fancy marketing guff. Stop it.
Tomorrow's Abby are going to tell you there are only like 500 units left. Get one now.
Oh, I'll be buying it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's got a mini reprint of a Fangoria Collector's Edition in there, as well as a collectible logo pin. I'm all over that crap. I'm not.
Right. Very good. Thank you, Mark. Next up, it's streaming and TV show news.
If you'd like to support the AVForums podcast on a regular basis, then why not become a patron? Head over to patreon.com/AVForums to sign up. You can also make a one-off donation through the Super Chat or via streamlabs.com/AVForums. All donations help us to improve the website and the podcasts. Thank you to all our supporters.
I'm going to really quickly shout out to Amazon's A Million Miles Away. For being...
You have to shout loudly, it's a long way away.
Surprisingly heartfelt and inspirational. It could have been absolutely terrible. It's a true life story. It's a kid who basically goes from picking fruit and veg and traveling around the country as an immigrant pulled around by his family who don't really earn enough to barely survive. And decides one day he wants to go to space. It's an impossible story. Absolutely impossible.
That's not a spoiler, is it?
It's
Not given the picture Kaz splashed all over his review, I don't think so.
I mean, it's really it's a really lovely, well put together movie. It could be saccharine and horrendous and really tough to watch, but they make it very natural, very organic, and lovely little beats, like the way in which just one kind word from a teacher can really impact a young child's mind. I mean, it's been really nicely done, and I strongly recommend it. The trailer, even the artwork for it is horrendous. It's enough to put you off.
It's like anti-marketing. That's what it is.
It's just playing to what you'd expect all these movies to be like. But this one, they really do nail it down. And what helps is little things like using real footage of the real, space launches in the background. I mean, rather than going for some CG romp. For any of the footage that really happened, they use the real footage, even though it's grainy, even though it's a bit shoddy, and it stands out in this 4K Amazon presentation. I mean, it gives it a feel of authenticity. Nicely acted, nicely put together. Recommended, lovely family film.
Correct.
And I'm going to say, I'm not going to really talk much about Warrior it's because I recommended it.
Show.
Last time, and Simon went and watched it. Mark watched one, liked it, and then won't watch anymore because he
doesn't. No. I didn't watch one. You said watch 5 minutes, so I watched 5 minutes.
Oh.
It was pretty good. What?
Start at the beginning and go all the way through.
Have you seen how much crap I've got to watch?
Yeah, we don't have to watch the crap. You can just go with the good stuff.
No, Kaz he makes me watch crap. Honestly, you should see the guff he sends. All right, to be fair,
like the others.
And the Hellraiser box set. What? So I'll let you off that stuff, but I don't have time. I will. I'll get to it. I promise. And plus, let's be honest, I'm Bruce Lee'd out. Come on.
Well, that's why I thought it would appeal to you. But you enjoyed it.
Mate, yeah. It's an awesome show. I really enjoy it. The Banshee influence is well and truly all over it. So yeah, And there's, I've only, I'm 8 episodes into the first season. Episode 6, Blood and Guts or something it's called, the one that's almost standalone when they go to the, they're taking the coffin back and they're on a standoff in the in that saloon. Oh, it's just absolutely awesome. Totally epic. I love it. I love it.
It's very nicely nicely put together.
Yes.
I may watch 5 minutes of that episode tonight.
Yes. Punching can beat bullets any day. You watch.
Oh, we all know that.
We have finally, after a very long time, managed to make it to our theme of the week. We're really going to work on the timing here.
Start with a theme next time, Kaz, maybe.
I mean, yeah, sure. This is best and worst animated Batman movies, spurring off from Mask of the Phantasm. Go on, Mark. Tell us your best.
You want me to start? Okay.
Yes.
I am going to stick my neck out for Gotham by Gaslight.
That's because you're weird.
Yes. Now, what I love about all of these animated films and why they are so much more successful than their live action counterparts is they're not afraid to just go bug nuts insane. And not a little bit. We've got a multiverse. Well, you know what that means? It means, we just get another actor who played the exact same character a few years ago. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. The multiverse is more than that. And obviously, the way the animated worlds and the Elseworlds films and all that come together, it's not like they're all linked, but each individual film plants its flag in the ground for its own little corner of insanity. And Gotham by Gaslight just tickled me. It is Batman in Victorian London. This isn't some strange retro future steampunk Victorian London. No, this is actual Victorian London. So you've got Batman. Still he's Batman, but he doesn't have all his tools. He doesn't have all those wonderful toys. The technology isn't there for him to do his usual stuff. So things like a prison break suddenly becomes slightly more tricky. Trying to follow someone with no DNA or anything like that, also slightly tricky. And it's forcing the character of Batman to still be Batman, but in a completely different environment. And what I love with it is what it does with some of the other characters. So a lot of the characters, the rosters that you love are still there. So you've still got Poison Ivy, you've still got Jim Gordon. They're all in here, but they're all very different takes on the character. And I just really love, it's Batman versus Jack the Ripper for starters. That
was always going to get you, wasn't it?
Frankly, he could start any film with, blank versus Jack the Ripper, and I'm there. Right, but Batman versus Jack the Ripper is awesome. But I especially liked what they did with the narrative rant. The reveal of who the Ripper is just phenomenal in this. And it still brings the spectacle. It ends atop a fiery Ferris wheel. And I just thought it took that concept of a different Batman to a fantastic extreme that worked as a Victorian noir horror film, that just so happened to star Batman. So yeah, I am a huge fan of Gotham by Gaslight, but I will admit, Kaz, and I know that this is your pet peeve, I haven't read the graphic novel.
It's not a pet peeve. It's just that I'm almost envious because I want to have this much love for Gotham by Gaslight. I want to love it the way that you describe it. Everything that you describe about it is true. But I suppose the difficulty I have is that I don't like it for the reason that you don't have in your life, which is that I've read the Gotham by Gaslight graphic novel, and I've read the sequel, Master of the Future. And the way it kind of bastardizes both, changes the twist, adds in the fiery ending of Master of the Future. They are tremendous Elseworlds novels, and they could have been done as is.
Yeah, but not in a single 70-minute film.
They could have just done the first one as is. Like, they didn't have to use the second one at all, just for a big wham bam finale.
Well, to be fair, I'm comfortable in my idiocy. So I
know, and
I
completely.
Thanks, I'm
as I say, I'm envious of it. My difficulties with it, and I will revisit it. My difficulties with it is I just want it to be a really good adaptation of what is an excellent graphic novel, and they kind of Batman versus Superman it, unfortunately, a little bit, and so I can see why you love it, and I would like to I just don't know whether I can ever unsee the original novel. But it's a lovely pick, and it is the overall theme for this, which we'll celebrate at the end, which is there isn't a bad. It's hard to find a really bad one in the lot. I'd certainly watch it again. And enjoy it.
Yes.
So it's a nice pick. Si,
Thank you.
what are you telling me?
So I'm going to go with one of the best adaptations of a comic book to screen, which is The Dark Knight Returns. Is that right?
It is. Yeah. Frank Miller's
Yeah,
The Dark Knight Returns.
Don't look the cats for approval, Si. You be firm in your choice.
It is
You be
absolutely.
proud.
It is absolutely
It is.
one of the best.
It is
adaptations.
one of the best adaptations
Yes.
because
Even I've read that
it's
comic.
almost putting the comic on the screen. You know,
It is, yeah.
even down to some of the actual pictures that they use.
Yeah.
That flash of lightning when he's jumping. I mean, that is the cover of the artwork. I mean, it's all there, and it's a seminal comic book or graphic novel, I think they called it when it was released. Batman, as an old fart, comes out of retirement and is a total loony. You know, he doesn't want to just stop people; he wants to hurt them while he stops them. So it's brilliant, and I love it. And it's so we spoke about earlier, didn't they? Split it into two halves because it's such a giant novel,
Which is the right way.
which is the right way, and they ended it well.
Yeah.
First half is about his attack on the mutants, and the way he beats the mutants is by using his brain, not his brawn. Typical Batman, fantastic. Second half is his battle with Superman, which I've just watched this evening again, and it's the way that they bring the fight between them, very, very clever. You know, not like
Batman versus
Batman versus Superman.
Mother!
So
they give it a reason, don't they?
They give it a reason. They give it a real reason, and the fight is absolutely epic. Absolutely epic, fucking brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And they call in all different characters to help in this ultimate battle. And I just love that one line. No, the man who beat you. Ah, come on.
I mean, it's
awesome.
It's very nicely done.
It is beautifully done, and it's right out of the book. Right pages are out of the book. Yeah. Yeah,
I think
very difficult to top that one.
But Kaz is going to try.
He's going to try.
I don't know whether I'm going to try and beat The Dark Knight Returns. I mean, that's a tremendous choice. And everything they did right with that, they didn't do right with Year One, which I also enjoyed. But that was also Frank Miller, and they didn't get to the grittiness of Year One, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, if I had to pick one that isn't those two, then I would go with the left field choice of the Lego Batman movie. I'm just gonna say it here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like
who would have thought?
I love The Dark Knight Returns, and I love all the straight movies, and I love the Lego movie, but I never expected to love the Lego Batman movie as both a hilarious Lego comedy and a Batman.
It's
like it really knows it's Batman. It's really gonna go through all of the different crisis modes with pictures of the photos and then a shot of the 60s show. I mean, it's really gonna have Batman like roll and say no. And then just to top off that moment, he does the Batman tune, does the no, and then at the end he goes the beatbox the end of it. It's just epic.
It's so funny,
and it manages to surprise you even within the jokes it's telling as it's telling them. I mean, the interactions, the relationship between Batman and the Joker. I mean, it's just so well done. Non-stop entertainment for kids, but it's the adults who've grown up with Batman that are really gonna get everything out of this movie.
Yeah,
it's just all the little nods. It's there. Are we going to suggest that there's I mean, we can say there's a worst, maybe, but okay, go on. Tell me your worst.
Yes, I will venture of the 38 animated films I have watched.
Well, only Batman ones. You can't just go left field. It's just movies with Dracula here.
But of my 38, my lowest rated one out of all of them is Batman: The Killing Joke. It just did not work for me. I didn't. The split of the two storylines just didn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read some reviews that say its depiction of Barbara Gordon in the first half as some simpering Stockholm syndrome-esque. She was enthralled to a domineering, grooming Batman, all this kind of stuff. I didn't necessarily pick up on a lot of that, but the film just didn't work for me. And as one of these seminal Joker graphic novels, I wanted it to be amazing, and
it only needed to be that first half, really, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Without that first half, it's much, much better.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, all right, to say it's terrible, it's not terrible.
It's not
it was
terrible.
The most disappointing.
Just,
it's the most disappointing one out of all of them. That one for me. So I'm gonna stick that out. Yeah. Done. That's it. All the rest are amazing.
Yeah, all the rest of it's very difficult to pick between them.
And I think we should probably say for everyone who looks at these animated films and goes, "Oh, it just looks a bit Saturday morning cartoonish," honestly, go and watch one. Because yes, really it's simplistic animation, but the storytelling, the character work.
They're not afraid to tell a story. That's what's good about it.
And in 70 minutes, they can pack so much into 70 minutes. And for me, every time, for the last few DC live action films, I just feel myself going, they've done better in animation. They've told the same story in half the time, better in animation. So if you haven't checked any of these out, go and check. Just try them because they're amazing.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I mean, you can't dismiss them for just being animated. They are tremendous. And I would say, I mean, I agree with you, even in you describing it, Mark. Killing Joke, I would say, out of all of them, the original graphic novel, it's got to be tough to adapt, because actually, if you could read it in, like, I don't know, 5 minutes. It's really simple,
really short. Yeah.
It's really short, and it's down to striking images, more than words, more than anything else. Just striking images. Gut shots to Barbara Gordon, the Joker just cackling while he shows pictures that he's taken of her wounded body, that and tortures Jim Gordon with them. It's all over in a heartbeat. And the decisions Batman has to make. Making that into a movie was a stupid fool's errand. I can almost see why they had to invent some kind of other story to tell, because it's a 20-minute episode kind of a story. I would shout out to Batman Ninja.
Yes.
Because I mean, I know it's not going to be down there as the best, but as a left field choice for just
so
crazy proper anime, proper hardcore violence. It's like Batman meets Mad Max Fury Road. It's
in feudal Japan.
It just doesn't make any sense on paper, but it really works.
But I think that's the beauty of all of them, isn't it? You could almost pick any genre of film, and there's been a DC animated film that's done it. The Doom That Came to Gotham is Lovecraftian horror meets 40s noir.
Yes.
I mean,
yes, so you could do.
It's just awesome.
It is. It's an awesome selection. We've reviewed all of them. Almost all of them. So go out and check out the reviews and get Batman viewing.
Yes.
I'm going to answer quickly podcast question. Have you watched Foundation Season 2? Excellent TV, a massive upgrade on Season 1.
Isn't Tom watching it? Are you doing it?
Mark.
Well, I for my shame, I watched and reviewed the first episode.
And haven't gone back to
I've only done one more episode after that. I haven't kept up to date with it. So shamefully, no, I haven't.
Well, we'll revisit
we will,
with full season review when the time comes. But the review of the Season 2 Episode 1 is on site if you want to check that out.
And but I have been keeping up with comments in the threads, and by all accounts, it started off strong, and it's finishing even stronger. So yeah, looking forward to finishing season 2.
Still waiting for the season 7 box set. Coming soon, we'll be checking out the original new sci-fi flick, The Creator, at the cinemas. Hopefully still getting our hands on Studio Canal's 4K releases of Cutthroat Island. Cutthroat Island today? I mean,
I don't know, have you seen the screenshots? You might not want to get your hands on it.
Well, that and U571. We're covering the 4K of the others, which is actually on site and
already done.
access.
It's in early access.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Eureka's Touch of Evil, which we still have a few more days for it to magically appear. Disney's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is in early access, and investigating John Wick's spin-off, The Continental, which is Friday, I think. Where are we going to watch this? Does anyone know? It says Peacock. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's just an animal. Bird. Like, what are we doing here? Well, I'm watching it on a Peacock. I have to find a Peacock.
You have to find a Peacock.
Watch on a Peacock.
Peacock's a channel TV show, isn't it? Too.
Yeah,
channel
but
TV.
I know
it is, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, watch it on Peacock. But anyway, I'm hoping that becomes clearer on Friday. Do let us know if there's ever anything we've not covered that you think we should check out. And that's it for the AVForums podcast this week. My thanks to the movies team. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please give us a like and subscribe on the channel. Plus hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we publish our live streams, product reviews, and more. If you really like this podcast, then buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/AVForums. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and bookmark avforums.com for the latest news, reviews, and videos. Plus, why not leave us a 5-star rating on whichever service you choose, if they allow it, but only if you enjoyed the show. I'm Kaz Harlow, Ron Burgundy. Thank you for watching and listening, and join us for another podcast soon.
See you all soon. Bye.